The sun had barely risen over the narrow streets of downtown Atlanta when Malik Carter sprinted out of his small apartment, shirt neatly pressed, shoes shined, and resume clutched tightly in his trembling hands. Today was supposed to be the day his life finally changed. After months of job hunting, rejection emails, and working night shifts at a gas station, Malik had finally landed an interview at Thorn Industries, one of the city's most prestigious corporations. The position wasn't glamorous, just a junior logistics assistant. But for Malik, it meant a stable paycheck, health insurance for his sick mother, and hope that all his sacrifices were finally paying off. The morning air carried a rare sense of optimism as he waited for the bus. He checked his cheap watch repeatedly. Each minute felt precious. He whispered a quiet prayer. "Please, God, just let nothing go wrong today." But as if fate had been listening with a cruel smirk, the bus never came. 20 minutes passed, then 30. Malik's heart began to race. The route app showed delay due to mechanical issues. His interview was at 9 a.m., and it was already 8:15. The office was miles away. He thought about calling for a rideshare, but his wallet held only $7, just enough for the bus fare and lunch. He cursed under his breath, then started walking briskly, sweat already forming on his forehead under the blazing Georgia sun. He couldn't give up. Not today. He kept repeating that to himself with every determined step. After nearly 15 minutes of speed walking, Malik reached a quiet road that cut through a suburban area, a shortcut that could shave off 10 minutes. But halfway down he saw an old beige Buick parked awkwardly on the side of the road. The back tire was flat, and beside it stood an elderly white man in a wrinkled gray suit, struggling to loosen the lug nuts. The man's hands were shaking, his face pale from exhaustion and heat. Malik glanced at his watch. It was 8:42. If he stopped to help, he would miss the interview for sure. But then he saw the old man drop to one knee, clutching his chest. Malik froze for a split second, torn between his future and his conscience. Then his instincts took over. He tossed his resume into his backpack, ran across the road and shouted, "Sir, are you okay?" The old man gasped, I'm fine, just dizzy." Malik quickly helped him sit on the curb under the shade of a nearby tree, grabbed his water bottle and handed it over. The man took a small sip, breathing heavily. His shirt was soaked through and the heat shimmered around them like waves. "Let me handle the tire," Malik said, not waiting for permission. He rolled up his sleeves and got to work, the rough asphalt biting into his knees as he crouched. The bolts were stiff, his palms slippery with sweat, but he didn't stop. He thought of his mother, who always told him, "Your heart is your greatest gift, baby. Don't ever lose it, even if it costs you something." By the time Malik finished and tightened the spare, his clothes were covered in dirt and grease. The old man, now a little steadier, stood beside him with tears glistening in his tired blue eyes. "Son, I don't know how to thank you." Malik just smiled weakly. "Don't worry about it, sir. I'm just glad you're okay." He looked at his watch again. 9:07. His interview was over. The last sliver of hope he'd held slipped away. "Are you in a hurry?" the old man asked, noticing the disappointment flicker across his face. "I had an interview downtown," Malik admitted, wiping his hands on his pants. "But it's okay. Some things are more important." The old man stared at him for a long moment, as if memorizing his face. "What's your name, son?" "Malik. Malik Carter." "Malik," the man repeated softly. "That's a good name." He pulled out a business card but seemed to hesitate. Then, instead, he smiled faintly. "Thank you for stopping when no one else did." Malik nodded, forced a smile, and turned away, walking toward the main road with heavy steps and a heavier heart. Before the story continues, if you believe that kindness and second chances still matter in this world, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. It helps stories like this reach more hearts like yours. The day that was supposed to bring Malik's breakthrough ended with him standing outside a coffee shop, staring blankly at the sorry, position-filled email on his cracked phone screen. He sighed deeply, the kind of sigh that seemed to drain the spirit right out of him. He didn't have the energy to go home yet. Not to his mother's hopeful eyes, not to her fragile smile asking, "How did it go, baby?" He couldn't bear to break her heart with another disappointment. So, he sat there quietly, watching people in crisp suits and shiny shoes rush by, living lives he could only dream of. He replayed the moment over and over in his head. If he just walked past the old man, maybe he'd have made it in time. Maybe he'd finally have a way out of this endless struggle. But something deep inside told him he wouldn't have been able to live with himself if he had. As dusk settled, Malik finally dragged himself home. His mother, Rosa Carter, greeted him at the door with her warm, tired smile. Her health had been declining ever since her last hospital visit, but she never complained. She just hugged him tightly and said, "I'm proud of you no matter what, baby." Malik tried to smile back, but the lump in his throat made it hard to speak. That night, as he lay awake, Malik stared at the ceiling, wondering if the world even noticed people like him. People who worked hard, played fair, and still couldn't catch a break. 2 days passed. Then, on the third morning, Malik's phone rang from an unknown number. He almost ignored it, but something made him answer. "Hello, this is Malik." "Mr. Carter," a woman's professional voice replied. "This is Linda from Thorn Industries. The CEO would like to meet you personally this morning, if you're available." Malik sat up straight, blinking in disbelief. Yes, absolutely. What time?" 9 a.m. sharp, she said. "He specifically requested you." His mind raced as he rushed to get ready. He didn't understand how this was possible. He'd missed his first interview, and they'd already filled the position. But he didn't question it. Maybe, somehow, grace had found him after all. When he arrived at the glass building downtown, the receptionist greeted him warmly and led him to the top floor. The office was breathtaking. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, a minimalist design that oozed quiet power. Malik's palms were sweating again, just like the first time. Then the door opened, and there he was, the old man from the roadside, now in a tailored navy suit, walking confidently with a small smile. Malik froze. "Sir, you're—" "Yes," the old man interrupted gently. "Charles Thorn, CEO of Thorn Industries." Malik's breath caught in his throat. Charles walked closer, his expression kind but firm. "You missed your interview to help a stranger in need." "That stranger was me." He paused, his eyes softening. "I wanted to see the kind of person you were when no one was watching. And I saw more integrity in you that day than in most people I've hired in my entire career." Malik couldn't speak, his vision blurred with tears. Charles smiled and extended his hand. "If you're still interested, I'd like to offer you not just the junior position, but a mentorship under me personally. I see something special in you, Malik." For a moment, Malik couldn't move. The world felt surreal. He finally shook Charles's hand, his voice trembling. "Thank you, sir. I won't let you down." Charles patted his shoulder. "You already haven't." Months later, Malik was thriving at Thorn Industries. He'd quickly proven himself. His dedication, his work ethic, his humility. Charles often invited him to meetings just to watch and learn, treating him not as a subordinate, but as a future leader. One evening, after a long day, Malik found himself alone in the office, looking out over the city skyline as the sunset bathed the buildings in gold. He thought back to that scorching morning on the roadside, the decision that cost him everything, and somehow gave him everything. He smiled softly, whispering to himself, "Maybe kindness really is its own reward." Charles walked in quietly, holding 2 cups of coffee. "You've come a long way, son," he said, handing one over. "Never change who you are. The world needs more men like you." And as they stood there in the glow of the fading sun, Malik realized something profound, that the smallest act of kindness, done with a pure heart, could change the course of a life forever.